I don't believe it's the greatest country. Not anymore.
That's fine.
But, I mean, I'm not saying it's a shitty country. It's a good place to be. Like, it's a great country. It's
listen,
just,
happiness, just so you know, is an impossible metric to measure. It's absurd
I
to me.
disagree.
It's absurd to me that they're saying they're doing surveys on happiness.
I mean, I'm a psychology major.
If I went around the room,
good at, yeah.
Oh,
like,
then you know. I guess you know.
Yeah,
Never mind.
I'm pretty familiar.
I guess
with
you know how happy
easy
I am because you were a psychology major.
I'm pretty familiar with how easy it is.
I
to
love
measure
these sorts of
happiness.
arguments. I majored in psychology, therefore I know how happy you are and how it can be defined.
You
what a bizarre thing to say.
but I'm just saying.
It's an impossible metric.
Your claim is that happiness
the way people
is
define
difficult to
happiness
measure,
is different
and
from
I'm saying
person to person. It is different from person to person. Some people define happiness in terms of how much success they have in their job. Some people define happiness by how much family time they can create. Some people define happiness by being alone and sitting alone with their cat. That's me, okay? Like, there's all different types of ways to measure happiness, so it's bizarre to me to think that they've created some mass survey at the United Nations that determines how happy we are in a nation. I have to say, I'm pretty happy too. I think the people in this room would agree that we love America, and I appreciate your psychology degree you're working on.
Do you know that America takes in half of the world's immigrants every single year? You know, it's really amazing about our culture and our identity. We're one of the only countries ever to exist, actually the only country ever to exist, where it doesn't matter where you come from or what you look like or even what religion that you practice. When you come here, you're called an American. It's not the same in European countries, these countries with higher happiness index. If you come from somewhere else and you go to Sweden, they'll say, no, that's somebody else. Our Swedish identity is being here for hundreds and hundreds of years. Do you know that Americans voluntarily gave away $500 billion to charity last year? When there's a natural disaster, when there's conflict, you don't call the Belgians, you call the Americans.
You know, the question of is America great is sadly up for debate nowadays. You know, I think probably decades ago, everyone would answer that question and say unequivocally, yes, America is the greatest country in the history of the world. But now the left, the Democrat Party, the mainstream media are constantly sowing distrust and division of what it means to be an American and looking down upon our country, tearing it apart. This is unequivocally the greatest country in the history of the world. As Charlie Kirk pointed out, we take in more than half of the world's immigrants every single year. Last year alone, Americans gave more than $500 billion to charity. Patriotism, that common sense of we are all American regardless of race, religion, or creed, is the greatest communal factor we all have. And it's very sad that in today's America, our greatness is being undermined by a party who does not believe it. A party that does not want us to have a sense of patriotism. In fact, they call patriotism dangerous, nationalism dangerous. It's not dangerous to be a patriot. It's not dangerous to be a nationalist or to believe that this is the greatest country in the history of the world.